Hey everyone, this is Sergeant DangerCow from British Sergeant's Mess, and this is episode 4 of Chewing the Cud. This week, Hardline. Everyone is going mental about the Hardline leaked video. Now, I'm not going to do an analysis of the video. That's for other people much more into their Battlefield, much more knowledgeable than I. However, I am going to talk about my feelings about what I see in the video in terms of the actual game and gameplay, and what I have seen within the community's reaction to it. So I'm going to start with the video itself. Now, it clearly says at the bottom of the video, not for public consumption, internal use only, that sort of thing, right? Now, for my opinion, for what it's worth, okay, and there are lots of people out there, people whose opinion I do respect, people like Snoo603 and there's a couple of others who have said, look, this is disastrous. The video shows us the game, and that's the end of it. Now, I'm actually inclined to disagree, and I know there are other people out there who agree with me. People like Scanner Barkley, who say that the video is old for a start. It's clearly old. It's an investor. What's the word? Tease. It's trying to get people to invest in EA, invest in the product, and invest in Visceral, possibly. I don't know, but it is there as a more like a brochure than anything else. And if that's the case, then I don't think we can strongly say that what we see is the final polished product, because they would have to release that quite a long time before the actual game was about to be released in order to attract the investment. That being said, we could be wrong. It could be exactly like that, but I have a feeling that the trailer that we saw, that it wasn't a trailer, it was a brochure. It talked about the game, blah blah blah, but it's not like the classic BF4 trailers or BF3 trailers produced by Noken and Roly the Poly and that sort of, you know. Just there needs to be I think a certain degree of what's the word? A certain degree of caution in saying this is what the game is going to be. You can't bank too much on what you see in that video. There are lots of analysis of weapons and all sorts of gadgets and what have you. Now, to me, you know, I couldn't really give a damn. What I'm interested in is the gameplay itself. You know, we're really quick to judge as a community what a game. That's not fair, actually. As a community, we have, in this instance, been quick to judge what the game is going to be like before actually experiencing what the game is like, which is it is a bit, you know, it's a ridiculous standpoint. That said, it is, however, quite indicative of how the community, or at least some of the more reactionary elements, feel let down by BF4 at launch. I'm not sure it's necessarily fair to judge a game simply on the merits of the last one, and particularly when it's being produced by a different studio, which is, of course, in this instance, it's Visceral, not DICE. And obviously, you know, one hopes, and this is again why I hark back to the video being a sort of a pre-stage, almost like a closed beta, is that I think that, you know, what's going on with CTE now and what's going to be implemented into BF4, which is, as we've all discussed, fantastic, will probably have to carry over into the coding, or at least some part of what Hardline comes out as. And obviously they can't have done that. If that game is that far developed, they have to, I think they would be incredibly injudicious to ignore what the CTE of BF4 has said and just carry on with what they've done anyway. I think there was, I'm sure, a meeting between DICE and Visceral in which they said, we're going to do this and we'll pass on the information to you. Now, I think they would be extremely sort of, well, as I said, injudicious, because I think stupid's too hard a word. They would be injudicious to ignore that CTE. The other thing everyone seems to be mentioning is that the similarities between this game and Hardline rather, and Payday 2. Now, you know what? I don't think that's fair. I'm going to actually look up now, because I favorited earlier. You can probably hear me clicking in the background. I favorited a quote from David Goldfarb, who, if you don't know who David is, he was one of the lead writers, lead guys on BF3, and he was one of the lead guys in Payday 2. Now he says, and I quote, and I'm going to shove this up on the screen now, BF Hardline stuff looks neat. Very different from Payday 2. Good to have a new non-soldiery tone. Now what's a hardline? Now obviously the last bit of it, now what's a hardline, is a little bit of a glib tone. But his opinion is it's different. Now if his opinion is it's different, I don't think any of us have a right to say, oh, they're ripping off Payday 2. It's cops and robbers. For Christ's sake, the whole element of BF, the whole element of Battlefield is teamwork. That is the element, okay? Now, it could be sharks versus bears. It could be fucking jellyfish versus octopus. I don't really care. The point is that it's teamwork. Now, if in this kind of permutation of things, it's cops versus robbers, then so be it. But bear in mind, right, this is essentially Bad Company 3. What we're getting now is Bad Company 3. And it's not going to be Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 might carry on the cops and robbers theme. I'd be surprised, but they might. Personally, I think it's quite nice to mix it up. That being said, you know, it is obvious that they're looking at a particular tone. They wanted to break away completely from the militaristic tone and try and freshen up the whole thing. I think they've done that more kind of, let's see how it works, dip our toe in the water, and if it takes off, maybe we'll incorporate it into Battlefield 6, because they're probably too far down the line now with Battlefield 5. Okay, so that's my thoughts on that. But the main thing is, having read the forums and having seen the Twitter comments, it seems really obvious that people are going to be far less eager to part with their hard-earned cash, either at release or at pre-order for Battlefield Hardline. You know, the whole pre-order thing is, look, Jack Frags asked in his Twitter feed, why do you do premium? It wasn't as aggressive as that, sorry. It was, well, why do people do premium? Is it for all the extra bump you get, or is it to save money? Personally, I do it to save the extra cash on the maps and the DLC. That's why I do it. I could give no cares at all about extra battle packs and double XP weekends, because most of that is irrelevant for anyone who plays the game for any length of time, who reaches the cap limit on rank, which is now 120. I don't know if it will go up again with Dragon's Teeth. You know, those are totally irrelevant to me. I would rather have actually just well, I mean, obviously having all the extra stuff and the early access is quite good as well, but that's why I do it. So I think people are going to hang on to their cash an awful lot more than they did with Battlefield 4, and I don't think people are going to get as drawn into the hype about Hardline as they have done with BF4. I mean, not wishing to be a hypocrite, I'm going to tell you now, my starting point on this is my personal level of interest is 0 degrees above fuck given. I absolutely do not have any interest in this game at the moment. I may do a long time after it's released and more people in the British Sergeant's Mess community are playing it and I see it's a good fun game. But right now, 0 degrees above fucks given, okay? I think the damage that BF4 at launch has done, I mean, it's instilled a real wariness and cynicism in the community that has just really kind of bubbled up and bubbled up and bubbled up, and I think the CTE will do a lot to kind of reclaim that. But in all honesty, I think that EA are a little bit worried, and they don't know how to reclaim that. They don't know how to get people back into pre-ordering and all the rest of it. And I don't think that Hardline is the answer to that. Because for me, from what I've seen, and this is judging purely on what I've seen on the video, it is more like COD/Medal of Honor arcade console port than BF3 even was. And I don't think that Battlefield players are going to say, yeah, this is going to rescue the series, because I don't think it will. personally, and I'm not being a PC elitist here because I play on console as well, but I only play Battlefield on PC. I can't do it on console. I can't aim properly. Anyway, point being, I think that to get their answer as to how to solve the situation, they need to go back to the drawing board and go back to making it a PC game first and a console game second, not starting from the point of we need to make this playable on consoles and then buff it up to PC level. They need to make it, this is a game that will sell on PCs, and then think, right, how can we downgrade this to go on to consoles? Even next gen obviously aren't quite up there with the PCs, but and that's, I'm not being an elitist and I'm not trying to say anything else, but I think that's how they need to rescue it. They need to look at what makes the PC players play it, get them back involved, because after all, PC is where it was born. And then think, okay, now how do we take what we've built for the PCs and make it applicable to consoles? And that's the way forward for me. It's probably, not the most original point of view, but I do think that's what they need to look at. Anyway, I've waffled on long enough. I hope there'll be something next week to talk to you about. Probably there'll be some sort of more rumours about Hardline or whatever. But anyway, until then, I'll see you on the battlefield. Ta-ta.